1943 U 1082, January 5th, 1943. Written in hand, Firestone Military, 16 by 500 tires. It's a police gray. This here, sold to Frank. It's Harley's invoice, notice of shipment. Came with the sidecar connecting stuff, brake lock. For John A. Johnson Contracting Corp., Mount Vernon Contracting Corp., Naval Training Station, Sampson, New York. End use, USN 710 PO 11035. So this had to be authorized. Utility sidecar, oil bath air cleaner, reverse gear, windshield sport solo, rear chain oiler, lap apron, rear chain oiler, and on a U. Where'd they get that from? 18-tooth motor sprocket. Now we have quite a bit of supporting documents. They've made 8 of these and 8 sidecars, so we're going to go through all the invoices. Each invoice is going to get its own video. But we've got quite a bit of supporting documents for this one. We're going to read all the letters here. And we're going to try to keep it in order. Now remember, this was shipped January 5th, 1943. I don't have the order acknowledgement here, unfortunately. Something happened to it. But we have a lot of supporting letters. The first one, dated September 7th, 1942. Mr. Joe Stern. Dear Joe, here's some catalogs and price lists order blank for your convenience. The prices quoted on this blank for motorcycles still hold good today. Some accessory items have changed slightly, but for standard equipped motorcycles and sidecars, package trucks, the price remains the same. The government tax is now 7% on the wholesale cost, but I believe your department would be tax exempt. All police departments and so forth are. The freight and handling charges add 15 to list price for each solo and 12 more for each sidecar. Gives the prices here. 42U, 42 package truck, LE sidecar, overhead valve twin, slightly more than the U. All above prices are quoted without tax. We have on hand the one new 42U 74 side valve twin and one new 42 package truck model M. So as you see, they ordered in ahead of time service vehicles, and whoever walked in the door and paid them the money might have got it. Also one new 42E 61 overhead valve solo. We have no new passenger sidecars in stock at the moment. Present time, you can have immediate delivery on any or all of this equipment. The color on all standard police gray is a light pearl gray similar to silver. I will need the proper priorities on this equipment, but that wouldn't hold up delivery on my part. On delivery on any additional equipment, we would of course need the priorities in advance before the factory could build them. As to delivery dates on additional equipment, that would depend on the amount of priority orders that the factory has on hand. They wait and collect 50 or 100 or so orders and then run them through all at once, so they need to build it one at a time. If you get in on the tail end of one of these groups, next page here, very fragile. A week or 10-day delivery, but of course they were starting a new group. It would take much longer. They have United States Army orders to run them a good 2 years, and it takes a pretty good rating to shoulder in the middle of this big order. Then you would stop by Tuesday. We can call the factory to get any additional information you may need. If there's anything further that I can do between now and then, please call me for your time. This is important. They have United States Army orders to run them a good 2 years, and it takes a pretty good rating to shoulder in the middle of this big order. Well, this is September 11th, 42. So we got massive orders already. Beginning of the war. It's not been a year into the war, and they're just building up. Remember, bombing of Pearl Harbor was 1941. This is 1942. And this here was shipped 1943. So they're building up. They're building this. Everything's massive. Build, build, build. Now we have October 17th, 1942. J. A. Johnson and Mount Vernon Concorps, Naval Training Station, Sampson, New York. Dear Sir, in response to your recent request on police motorcycles, here are the prices. Because the price is 42U74 side valve twin, $577. 42F74 overhead valve twin, 87 more than the above described motorcycle. The same equipment, total of $664. Okay. Model 42F. Remember, we got one right there. Follow? And when he just said, I've got bikes in stock waiting for you, but you got to show me the requisition form or you can't get them. Now, in regard to priority ratings and delivery, I just received information from the factory stating that they can deliver 8 motorcycles complete of either model within approximately 45 days if they receive the order within a week or so. After that, they can give me no information as they're nearly out of material. Nearly out of material. Also on the priority, an AA2 is required. They cannot deliver on an AA3. If you can get an AA2, we can supply you satisfactorily. So you got to have your stamp. You don't get your proper ration stamp, you just out of luck. You got your proper ration stamp, you get whatever you wanted. But you got to get it right because it's still almost out of material. If you have difficulty in getting an AA2 rating, the only people that I know of that could help you is the International Police Chiefs Association, Washington, D.C. They have helped various police departments to obtain new equipment in different cities. If the man in charge of police work belongs to the association, it might help a lot. Tell him how to get his proper ration stamp. November 6, 1942. Mr. Johnson. Dear Sir, in regard to our telephone conversation yesterday about the 8 motorcycles and sidecar order enclosed, please find letter authorizing me to accept your order with an AA3 rating. We see no reason at this time why the factory cannot supply us with this equipment, but we suggest that this matter be terminated as soon as possible before any unforeseen circumstances arise. We want to make it clear that if for any reason this order cannot be supplied by us, it leaves you and all concerned under no further obligation even after you give us a bona fide order for the equipment. We suggest that when you get ready to make out this order that you call me and I will come down and go over it with you in detail, and that way we are assured of giving you the exact equipment that you need and we won't quote you on some item we cannot supply. We assume our factory believes that we are the logical source of supply for this equipment as we are near at hand and are in a position to give it any service work that you might need. Thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Frank. This is November 10th, 1942. Mr. Johnson, gentlemen. Reply to your letter of October 14th regarding the purchase of 8 motorcycles with sidecars. We have already asked our Rochester dealer, Frank Hennon, to contact you. This is a copy from Harley Davidson. If Mr. Hennon not already contacted you, reach him by telephone or wire. We'll accept an order for these motorcycles on an AA3 rating, subject to the requirements and regulations of the United States government. The reason we are suggesting that you deal with Mr. Hennon is that then you will be assured of dependable and efficient service for the equipment. Territory Dealers, Harley Davidson. November 20th, 1942. Harley Davidson. Dear Joe, I finally got by the guards at the Naval Training Station and met with this man, Clark Chamberlain. He advised me that he had given an order for these motorcycles to Joe Stern. Joe Stern is a brother to Albert Stern, who is president of some purchasing corporation that buys for and leases equipment to the Naval Training Station. This Mr. Chamberlain is apparently a weak sister and does just about what the Stern boys want him to do, but after a lot of omissions and evasions, he finally produced an order made out to this purchasing corp. Stern Brothers for 8 motorcycles without equipment except sidecar windshields at a price of well over $5,000. This order was about a month old, and the boys hadn't produced yet. They were supposed to have this equipment on hand. Mr. Chamberlain didn't exactly know what to do. He couldn't even find his cigarettes. I finally got it out of him that Mr. Beardsley and Lieutenant Smith had told him to order the machines. I got hold of Mr. Beardsley and Lieutenant Smith and finally got some action. They had a file full of bids from the local Indian dealer. The Indian factory said they could not supply. 2 or 3 Harley dealers said they could not supply, and HD Motor Corps would not bid against their dealer. It's only bids with figures where the Stern boys and mine, and the Stern boys are trying to buy the equipment through me. Mr. Beardley said he had never seen a situation like that and is pretty hopped up at the Stern boys and others around the office. He said he was very glad I came down and helped him get the thing straightened out. Lieutenant Smith is a regular guy and is pretty sore about the delay that's been caused. Mr. Beardley agreed to cancel and throw out the other order and advised me to give Mr. Chamberlain a set of figures to make out a new order to us. Enclosed, please find a copy of letter. Also send a copy of Mr. Beardsley. Should have some action in 3 or 4 days. I mean the order. Yours truly, Frank. So that's real interesting. A little spendangling there. November 20th, 1942. Mr. Johnson, dear sir, in regard to our conversation Friday afternoon, I went over the motorcycle order in detail with Mr. Bisley and Lieutenant Smith. Mr. Beardsley authorized me to send you a set of specifications and prices so that you'll have everything in detail. It's agreed that we are to supply you with 8 motorcycles complete as specified on AA3 priority, delivering in approximately 6 weeks and sooner if possible. The specifications are as follows. 8 latest model U74 side valves for $3,080. 8 accessory groups including front safety guards, steering dampener, 516 tires, heavy duty, $96, reverse gears, $5 each was $40. Oil bath air cleaners, $9 each for $72. Sidecars, latest model Harley Davidson, $135 each, $180. Sidecar windshield, $17 each, $130. Windshield for motorcycles, $15 each for $120. Top covers for motorcycles, $630 each for $50.40. Freight and handling, all with accessories attached, complete setup, operating, delivered to you, $200. No tax. Net total, $48.74. This may shoot complete delivered for $609.30. Trusting this gives you the information needed to make out the order. The department is very anxious to get this equipment. We'd appreciate the order number as soon as possible. We must send this order number to factory before they can start production, and we must send the complete original order to them soon after. We are sorry for the unfortunate delay in getting this motorcycle order straightened out and assure you that with the order number, the ball will really start to roll. Thank you for your cooperation. Yours truly, Frank. And then we have Johnson & Johnson Contracting Corp., Mount Vernon, December 4th, 1942. Mr. Frank, in reviewing my correspondence file, I discovered that you had requested a return of the enclosed letter. I'm sorry that I did not find it sooner. I hope it caused you no convenience. I don't think we have that enclosed letter. We have some more. This is from Harley Davidson. Mr. Frank, dear sir, before we can obtain tires for the 8 motorcycles and sidecars you have on order for Johnson & Johnson, the tire company requires that we give them the government contract number in which this company is operating. Please get the number of this contract in letter form and send this letter along to us. This will require immediate attention to avoid delay in filling this order. So Harley Davidson had to show proof of needing tires, or they couldn't get them. Everybody had to show proof. They were on top of this stuff, or else. Johnson & Johnson, May 7th, 1943. Dear Frank, gentlemen, according to our records, all materials and our labor contract with you, doesn't make any sense, by the Johnson & Johnson Contracting Corporation, Mount Vernon Contracting Corporation, on the Sampson Naval Training Station has been paid in full. As this project is nearing completion, an acknowledgement is requested. It's a government requirement that your records show our account paid full in order for the claims will be presented. It is requested that you sign or have signed by an authorized person all copies of this letter, retaining 1 copy for your files, returning the original, 1 copy for our files. Very truly yours. So now we get to the rest of the invoices. I'll see you guys in the next video.